recommendations. Happy to take any questions or comments.
Mr. Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Sade. I am going to again extend an invite that I did last year to my colleagues, and I do hope that we will do something prayerfully soon that we have to date not done, and specifically that is to have a serious, genuine discussion and deliberation relevant as it relates to how we reconcile often two truisms. I voted against the renaming initiative last year, and I will renew my objection this evening. But I specifically want to speak in the context of one of the schools, and specifically George Mason. I hope that this board is mature enough to have a genuine conversation about how we reconcile, how we continue to tell our story, tell a story relevant to somebody who was a participant in our original sin, and someone like so many of our founding fathers committed arguably an unforgivable act. And that same someone who was, if we repeal George Mason, strike him, if you will, from history, we will, in a few words or less, be repealing freedom of religion and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and separation of powers and due process and the idea that our rights originate from the Creator and are bestowed to the people, and then we give a little of that to the government, unlike the entire human experiment prior to what we did here in America. My point is to say that George Mason was author of Virginia Declaration of Rights, and by all account, said declaration constituted the inspiration for what would become the Bill of Rights. What's more, George Mason and his Virginia Declaration of Rights arguably was the impetus in some way what become Declaration of Independence. So I share that to say that I recognize my limitations pertinent to my wisdom, and I'm not sure how we as a people reconcile those two truisms. Somebody who, on the one hand, is guilty of this unforgivable sin, on the other hand, is responsible for changing the world forever by providing what we know as the American experiment. But I do think I have at least enough sense to know that it merits some very genuine discussion and deliberations. And this board has not done that. And I think that is most unfortunate. And candidly, our constituents, persons in the city of Richmond, deserve more and deserve better than that. Thank you.
Ms. Burke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad that there are 9 of us and we all are entitled to our own opinions. However, when Mr. Mason wrote the Bill of Rights, people who look like me were possessions. So far as changing the whole world, my voice is trembling because I believe a change has come to the city of Richmond, and we just have to keep pushing and keep encouraging. But sometimes change is good. Change is good. So when we speak of Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Rights, I still don't enjoy all of them.
Mr. Barlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think Ms. Burke made a very powerful comment there, and I'd like to follow up on it by saying, although many of these ideas may have been originated by George Mason, that Henry Marsh in particular fought to ensure that people in this city and in this country had the ability to be recognized and have those rights. And there are still challenges coming